I guess there's going to be a story run on questioning the timing of your campaign activities as they relate to your job as the chief of staff for the county judge. Your response?
Well, I'm kind of disappointed at the times. I thought they'd come up with something better. I've sent, I don't know, 50 to 100 press releases over the last few months on issues. And I've stayed away from, things that have nothing to do with what is important to the taxpayers and to the citizens and voters. But apparently there Times is wanting to recycle a story that was first run months ago when there was a complaint about, what kinds of conflicts of interest might exist with respect to an employee running for office versus their obligations to their job. My position has been very clear from the beginning. I get the job done, whatever it takes. I'm on call 24/7. I'm a salaried employee. And so there's really no issue. Anything that goes out for my campaign goes out for my campaign office, for my campaign computer. If there's any personal issue, I use my personal phone that I pay for. And usually it's outside the office, if I'm en route to somewhere or if I'm working from home or whatever. So I really don't think it's an issue, but I think I asked the Times to begin to cover the issues, and this is their response. They're covering a non-issue.
Okay, and that's for some clarification on that. What was the impetus? What was the the catalyst for
obviously
this?
we're talking about the budget. It's a very important issue, and what we're going to do with the budget. And my position has been that I think they need to leave the Council of Judges alone and the sheriff and deputies alone, and instead focus on non-essential, non-mandated programs, cut those, and keep the tax rate the same. My opponent feels that she wants to increase taxes so that she can have some of the discretionary programs funded. It's a very valid position as well. I want to debate that. So in that context, I called the Times and I said, why aren't you covering the debates? Because now is when the budget hearings are going on. They told me, well, it's too early. We don't want to, we want to wait, and so on and so on. 2 days later, they're running a story on whether there's a conflict between me, the timing of when I send out my press releases, which to me is, on its face, very suspicious.
I checked with the county attorney's office, and they don't have a record of a complaint being filed yet with the county. To your knowledge, has a complaint been filed on this issue?
There have been no complaints from department heads, from consumers, from taxpayers, from board. No one has complained because the work of the county judge is getting done, and we always respond efficiently, very quickly. My cell phone is public knowledge. People who have issues with the county, I respond to immediately. There is no issue. Whether someone will want to make it one after the Times tells them, this is how you can create problems, maybe, but up to this point, absolutely no complaints.
So having this issue already been before the Ethics Commission, actually the previous version of this Ethics Commission, their findings were what?
The Ethics Commission ruled that an employee could run for office. That's already a right. Number two, as long as the employee has the permission of the supervisor to engage the media or anything else, that there's no problem. And number three, that as long as the employee performs the duties of the office and it's okay with the boss, salaried employees making sure that they cover the time through the week, that there is basically no issue. That's what they ruled.
Okay. And when this was brought forth last time, I was actually the one who filed the complaint, and the county judge actually issued a letter, right, that kind of outlined.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, basically, the specific finding was that there was no problem. But in order to avoid any future problems, they needed to have a written document from the supervisor that it was okay for the employee to carry on whatever activity. So, for example, sometimes your show will call or the media will say, can you come on KVIA News Extra or whatever. I have to go to my boss and say, I need your permission in order to do that. And then he signs off or she signs off. Then it's okay for the employee to do it, so that it doesn't create a conflict in the office.
Do you find at all that there is a probably well-founded concern, though, about those kinds of things happening between the 8 to 5 normal work schedule?
Yeah, I can see the issue, and I wrote a letter to the Ethics Commission, and I said I can see the point of view. The other point of view is that I think that you should allow employees to run for office because they have a lot of experience. I mean, someone who works in the county gets a lot of experience on a lot of issues. And so they would know the ins and outs. And by not letting them run, you run the risk of denying the community what is basically a very talented pool of people with experience. So, I mean, it's two ways of looking at it. I said, so I told, in that my letter, I told the Ethics Commission, if you are going to change it right after this cycle, because we are already candidates and we already are in the mix. In the future, just let people know one way or the other. Right. My opinion is they should continue to allow the employees, as long as it's well worked out with their supervisor, that there's no conflict. And furthermore, the proof of the pie is in the eating. I mean, if there were complaints from constituencies that I'm not responding, or the department head can't get my attention, or anybody says I can't reach you, yeah, then maybe there's an issue. But no one is saying that, because it's not true. I'm available 24/7.
You had talked about the budget, and you talked specifically about the sheriffs and the courts. Given the choice between higher taxes and having to have the police officers or the sheriff's officers come to the table and work some kind of negotiation out, what would you advise?
Well, I don't put it that juxtaposition that you described is not the way I see it. I see it higher taxes versus non-essential, non-mandated programs. I'd rather have no higher taxes or freeze taxes where they are and eliminate the non-essential programs. That's the way I'm looking at it. And I think in the meantime, you don't mess with the judges' salaries, and you don't mess with the deputies and so on. You first eliminate the non-essential programs. Then you look at it again. And if there's still a problem, then you have to start looking at what kinds of things should you be providing for. For example, we pay for uniforms. We pay for cell phones. We pay for a lot of little things that are little things individually, but when you put it all together, that are major budget items. I would go to the deputies. I wouldn't say, hey, give up your salary. What I would say is, give me your uniforms, give me your cell phones, and you pay for those things, and that will create a savings. There's a lot of little things that can be done. Yeah, the problem is that I think the people are not being told the truth. The truth of the matter is the county budget is going to continue to decrease over the next 4 years. That's a fact. No one's dealing with that. They're hoping somehow the economy will turn around. They're hoping unemployment's going to go down. They're hoping the economy will kickstart and recover. It's not going to happen. So either we get ready now, or we're going to be in a world of hurt in a year or two.
Another question, really off topic, but it came up today, and I thought it would be interesting to ask you, being probably the most prominent Latino Republican in town. Comments made by Senator Harry Reid in Nevada, where he questioned whether or not Latinos should actually even be Republicans. Your response to that, and then your response to his opponent, the Republican in that race, issuing a media blackout to Hispanic media.
Well, I think they're both wrong. First of all, to me, it only makes sense for really everybody to be moving conservative, because the fact of the matter is the economy of this country is going nowhere but down. I mean, everyone is saying the United States is bankrupt. There's ample evidence that the United States is bankrupt. Everyone's, quote, deleveraging, and all that means is you got too much debt and you can't pay for it. So, I mean, that's just a reality. That's just a fact. On the Republican side, I think that it's a horrible agenda to try to eliminate the birthright citizenship. I think it's terrible on their part to try to criminalize a population whose only desire is to work. So I think they're both wrong. I'm less a partisan, but more a conservative. But absolutely, I'm running the Republican Party because I think in El Paso it's needed now to be conservative.
All right.